Check. 2. Chad, are you there? Are you there? Is this the day? Has the day finally come that people have just abandoned me? Has the day finally come when Chad has found a new community, a new streamer to go watch? Do you think I care? Do you think it bothers me? It doesn't. Doesn't bother me at all, actually. I won't spend one moment even considering it. The idea that Chad's just off somewhere else now. They all found somewhere else to go. They all found someone else to watch. See if I care. See if I care. It's not a big deal to me. It's not a big deal. What, you think it's a big deal? It's not. Hey, Marty, what's up? You got a new computer situation figured out? This is what happens when I do the stream at a different time. When I do the stream at a different time, and people are just like, no. You blew it. Hey, what's up, Brian? This is just going to be a shorter one today anyways. I got a late start. I considered just not doing the stream at all, and then it's like, here I am. Here I am anyways. Why not? Why not just show up for 2 hours and hang out a little bit? New computer up and running. Attempting to put back the software that I had before. Lost everything data-wise. That's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. That fucking sucks. That was some bullshit, Brian. That was some bullshit. Absolutely. I guess I should count myself lucky. What up, Jen? What's up, Gen X Bushy? I guess I should count myself lucky that I've been doing this stream for going on 3 years, and that's the first such incident that I've ever really had to deal with like that. You know? Just makes the logo on the shirt you're wearing that much more rare. That's right. Now it's like a vintage collector's item. Although I do have the files. Rob's probably going to talk about the new Mayor Pete interview. We can. It's really something else, isn't it? We should probably take a look at that. Imagine being the person that wrote that. This brilliant genius man somehow was able to make his incredible ideas understandable to disgusting filth like me. I'm just nothing but filth. And he's somehow able to make me, pathetic, disgusting piece of shit, ignoramus that I am, able to understand his brilliant ideas. It's like, what? Timpa V2 says, Elon is not afraid to speak his mind. He doesn't sell his soul to anyone. I respect him for that. Well, agree to disagree.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Ryan, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you, Brian. Genuinely, the author's editorial commentary was much more embarrassing than any of Mayor Pete's answers. Seriously, it's unbelievable. I don't know if you saw, the same person. Let me see if I can find it. It was in a chat that I'm in that pointed this out. It's from the same person that wrote this Mayor Pete interview that G. Kleppy's referencing. Hold on. I'll get there eventually. Thanks again for the 5 gifted subs, Brian. I really appreciate it. Thank you. The same person that did this piece, this this Mayor Pete thing where they're just like so blown away by his intelligence is the same person that wrote the Hillary Clinton is light itself essay. Same person wrote Hillary Clinton is more than a president. Opening paragraph. When people told, who is this person? Oh my God, this is just the saddest person. When people told me they hated Hillary Clinton, or far worse, that they were not fans, I wish I had said in no uncertain terms, I love Hillary Clinton. I am in awe of her. I am set free by her. She will be the finest world leader our galaxy has ever seen. And where's the Mayor Pete? Pete Buttigieg loves God, beer, and his electric Mustang. God, just in the fucking opening paragraph. Sure, the U.S. Secretary of Transportation has thoughts on building bridges, but infrastructure occupies just a sliver of his voluminous mind. Voluminous. Infrastructure occupies just a sliver of his voluminous mind. Who is this person? This is like the saddest person I can imagine. Like imagine just sitting down at a keyboard and like writing these words about Pete Buttigieg and Hillary Clinton and all these like these boring neoliberals. And just not only sitting down to write the words, but thinking that in your mind. Virginia Heffernan. Imagine just thinking those thoughts, let alone writing them down and like sharing them with other people. No, it's definitely not propaganda. Imagine living in a society with propaganda where they held up these leaders like this and held them up on these lofty pedestals like this, worshipped at their feet like that. It would be so fucked up. Virginia Heffernan girl, we're calling you in. Virginia, this is no good. This is not good. Is this all angling at some staff position? Maybe? I don't know. It just seems, maybe this is already a staffer. Like, who is Virginia Heffernan? Is she even like a real person? Or is it some fake identity that like David Brock cooked up? And really this is just some like Democratic Party staffer writing all these like hilariously overwrought puff pieces. My God, Dad could drive a car. I know. This isn't lighthearted chit chat. It's the same content. Well, it's all lighthearted GPA boost. It's all lighthearted chit chat. And because I got started a little bit later today, I kind of had to go directly into the commentary, the real stuff. Whoever this headline was targeting with God beer, they were completely out as soon as they got to electric Mustang. Well, he's the new modern man, though, you see. Masculinity is changing. Okay, as we're going to explore in this piece. And Pete exemplifies this new kind of modern masculinity. No room for goofing. No goofs. No goofs, japes, jokes. Did we talk Jimmy Buckets already? No, we didn't actually. And that's probably worthy of some chit chat. It's probably worthy of some chit chat, frankly. I'm all in on heat culture now. I've become a heat culture guy. Which that's kind of hard to believe. That's not something I saw happening. You know, the Sixers let me down when it came to like annihilating that Boston fan base, and now Jimmy Buckets has an opportunity to do it. kind of do. I mean, the team, I don't love the fan base, but like Kyle Lowry, I'm sorry, even though he plays for a team that I haven't really traditionally cared for all that much, I still love him like he's a member of my own family. So, yeah, I would like to see him get a second chip. I would like to see the 8th seeded Miami Heat continue this run that they've been on. I feel like the Nuggets probably will beat them. And honestly, I would be happy with the Nuggets winning also. I think the Nuggets are quite likable as well. The Nuggets are quite likable. I think they would probably win that matchup, but I feel like that would be an NBA Finals where I wouldn't really be pressed either way. I would be happy for both franchises. It would be good for the Nuggets to get a win. The Nuggets, when I were growing up, were just like the worst team. They were there every single year. They were like between 15, 25 wins. Like they were just like kind of a joke franchise. It's been a bit different the last 10, 15 years with Carmelo and, you know, some of the playoff runs they've been on. And they had that Carmelo and AI team for a little while in the last years that AI was a dominant kind of player. But yeah, I would be totally fine with them winning a chip as well. Jokic is just ridiculous. Like some of the plays he was making in that game the other night, I was just kind of like, Jesus. He's like an NBA 2K player that just has all the offensive stats maxed. It just seems silly sometimes. The George Karl Nugget years. That's right. They had some good years. Really knows how to dunk the puck into the touchdown zone. That's right, Grom. What do you do? What is Swedish? Is Sweden into sports at all? Like, do you just go out into a field and like shoot arrows at big pagan sculptures or something? Cross country skiing? Yeah, the hockey, of course. Do you watch hockey though, Grom? Yeah. We are better than you all. Well, that's not the case. That is not true. Grom does do the thing where he shoots a big flaming arrow into a big like Wicker Man sculpture where there's like a American chauvinist inside every harvest season, right? I think that's how it works. It is though, but go ahead and cope. How many gold medals has Sweden won in hockey in the Olympics? It must be, if it's what you're saying, it must have won a couple of them, right? What, like 3 or 4? The Swedes in the old Olympics? How many gold medals, I wonder, has Sweden won in that tournament? Peter Forsberg is too old. Forsberg was so good. Oh man, he was so fucking good. Those Avalanche teams in the 90s with Joe Sakic and Patrick Roy and Forsberg. Woo! Woo-wee! Man, I see my sub counter still isn't working properly. That's good. That's fun. I see it going up manually, but I have to do it manually. It doesn't work manually. Old school, like rolling your windows down. Fucking Christ. Narrator, I promise you, by year 5 of doing this program, by year 5, I will have a use for all the clout points. Some of you with like 80 million clout points or whatever it is. I will find a way for you to use these. By year 5, this is my promise to you. This is the good old Rob Rousseau promise, which, as we all know, folks, is ironclad. Stamp it. Stamp it. Put it in your calendar. Let's read this Mayor Pete article. I want to read this entire article. I want to read the entire thing. That's what I want to do right now. That's exactly what I want to do. Can you use slurp juice on a single clout point to create multiple clout points? You can do that. Yeah, you can. That's absolutely right. Do you want to? Would it be better though if I read the Mayor? If I'm going to torture people and myself with the Mayor Pete article, should I get the dinner party vibe going? Maybe with the light jazz and the conversation while I read this article. What about that? Would that help that go down a little smoother? You know, would that help that go down a little smoother? The Mayor Pete hagiography. Oh yeah, we got cafe chatter, Brian. Don't worry about that. Don't you worry, my friend. Oh, by the way, I love the trailer for the new Scorsese movie. Did people see that? The Killers of the Flower Moon trailer? Did anyone see that? It looks so good. Should we watch it? I actually just want to watch it again now. Can you find the wolves in this picture? Hey, what's up, really chill guy?
The Osage took their name from Missouri and Osage rivers. Niukanska, children of the Middle Waters. Move, said the great white father. There are many, so many hungry wolves. Can you find the wolves in this picture? Can you find the wolves in this picture?
That's so good. Oh man. Oh man, was my music playing the whole time? I guess if I had my headphones on, I couldn't even hear it. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, let's do this here. Can you find the wolves in this picture? I'm a big sucker for Leo DiCaprio doing that specific accent, that voice. I'm a big sucker for that. Yeah. This is how I'm going to make this Mayor Pete article go down a little smoother. Okay? Should I do it in the accent as well? Pete Buttigieg loves God, beer, and his electric Mustang. Sure, the U.S. Secretary of Transportation has thoughts on building bridges, but infrastructure occupies just a sliver of his voluminous mind. I don't know what this is. The curious mind of Pete Buttigieg holds much of its functionality in reserve, even as he discusses railroads and airlines, down to the pointillist data that is his current stock in trade. The U.S. Secretary of Transportation comes off like a Mensa black card holder who might have a secret go habit or a 3-second Rubik's Cube solution or a knack for supplying off the top of his head the day of the week for a random date in 1404, along with a non-condescending history of the Julian and Gregorian calendars. As Secretary Buttigieg and I talked in his under-furnished corner office one afternoon in early spring, I slowly became aware that his cabinet job requires only a modest portion of his cognitive powers. Other mental facilities, no kidding, are apportioned to the Iliad, Puritan historiography, or Nasgard Spring, though not in the original Norwegian, slacker. Fortunately, he was willing to devote yet another apse in his cathedral mind to making his ideas about three mighty themes: neoliberalism, masculinity, and Christianity intelligible to me. Holy Lord, how could you write those words? How could you write those words, chat? My goodness. Have some fucking self-respect. You know, I understand it's nice to be part of this elite power structure apparatus, but like, fucking have some self-respect. Please. It's Mayor Pete here we're talking about. My goodness. I think part of the reason I have to read it in this accent is because having some kind of ironic distance from it allows me to read it. Reading this kind of piece is like something that exists in the event horizon dimension. Just looking at it causes you to feel madness creeping in. And when I use this kind of accent in this relaxed, jazzy vibe, it allows me to process this information in a way that's not quite so upsetting. I hope you understand why I must do this. Because Buttigieg at 41 is an old millennial. Because as a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford, he got a first in PPE, philosophy, politics, and economics, a trademark degree for Labour Party elites of the Tony Blair era. Because he worked optimizing grocery store pricing at McKinsey. Because he joined, yeah, we know you did, Pete. because he joined the Navy in hopes of promoting democracy in Afghanistan. Because he got gay married to his partner Chasen in 2018, and because as mayor of South Bend, Indiana, he agitated to bring hipster entrepreneurism and high-tech investment to his Rust Belt hometown. I had to ask him about neoliberalism, the happy idea that consumer markets and liberal democracy will always expand, and will always expand together. I was also fascinated by the way Buttigieg, who has long described himself as obsessed with technology and data, has responded to the gendering of tech, and especially green tech, by fearsome culture warriors, including Marjorie Taylor Greene. Buttigieg, whose father was a renowned Marxist scholar, was himself a devotee of Senator Bernie Sanders as a young man. He now recognizes that the persistence of far-right ideology, with its masculinist and anti-democratic preoccupations, is part of the reason that neoliberalism has come undone. Not everyone, it seems, even wants a rising standard of living if it means they have to accept the greater enfranchisement of undesirables, including, of course, women, poor people, black people, and the usual demons in the sights of the world's Ted Cruz's and Tucker Carlson's. He also talked about his faith. Lefties these days are said to be less religious than right-wing evangelicals. But between Buttigieg, whose Episcopalianism grounds his decision-making, and his boss, President Joe Biden, whose robust Catholicism drives his sincere effort to revive America's soul, perhaps a religious left is rising again. It's funny because you're talking about Pete Buttigieg's devotion to neoliberalism and Joe Biden and him being religious, and then you say a religious left is rising again. Like, I mean, ma'am, you've just described two people who are not on the left, like in any way, by any interpretation. Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg do not represent the possibility of a rising religious left. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say. Calling it gay married instead of just married feels right for the Western accent. That's right. That's right. After Canada loses the water war, the Yankees are going to make us all speak this way. That's right. I'm trying to get on board. This article treats Buttigieg as the left. There's no understanding of the world there. I just still can't get over that opening paragraph. Like, Jesus Christ, who is this person? Oh, it's an interview. Okay, I can't read all this in that accent. I can't. There's just no way. I think that's going to be the end of that segment. Is there like a highlight? Like a highlight thread of this? Did someone do like a thread of highlights of this interview? This quote-unquote interview? Copy-paste GPT summarize. I could do that as well. You have to read it and do the Obama accent for the Pete parts. But it's interesting. It'd be like, I think it's probably worthwhile to unpack his views on like neoliberalism here. What is neoliberalism? Because Pete is very cagey, where he has this like criticism of neoliberalism, but while being still a neoliberal himself, like he's kind of trying to free himself from this kind of definition, right? From this political tradition, which he's obviously very clearly a part of, right? So he has this kind of criticism of neoliberalism, but he's never indicated in any way that he's wanting to, in terms of a political vision, that he wants to move beyond that in any way. And in fact, when there was someone in the Democratic Party that was making an effort to move the party beyond that kind of neoliberalism, Pete Buttigieg was one of the primary people trying to kneecap that person to ensure that would never happen. He understands it's unpopular, but he'll defend it to the hilt. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Neoliberalism 2.0, the good kind. That's right. All the bad parts we're getting rid of, and we're just keeping the good stuff now. So he says, when it comes to neoliberalism, she says, what is neoliberalism and what happened to it? When it comes to neoliberalism, we got mugged by reality. That's one cheeky way to put it. In the early part of my adulthood, neoliberalism was described almost as a consensus that just made sense, at least to everybody in positions of influence. Now it's very different. We've experienced the end of history. We have certainly experienced the limitations of the consensus. None of the assumptions from between roughly 91 and 2008 have survived. Certainly not the idea that the global move toward democracy is a one-way street, nor the idea that greater integration between markets and governments means greater harmony politically. Nor the idea that if we acted to make sure the pie gets bigger, everyone's slice would follow suit, which was the promise that was made to the industrial Midwest at the time of NAFTA. The lived reality of the younger generations is that they are experiencing climate issues not as a theoretical possibility, but as a clear and present danger. These are generations that have experienced the reality that disparities, including racial disparities, left alone will only compound. They won't cure of their own gravitational tendency, or the tendencies of the market, because market tendencies depend very much on what you have to begin with. The initial endowment, as the economists call it. But your initial endowment looks very different if your previous generation was dispossessed. Last year I was in Berlin as they were confronting the tectonic disruption that had been caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It had this very German word for it, Zeitenwende, a turning point. The war blew up their presumption that when it came to Russia, more integration between it and Europe would mean more stability. This was our presumption about China too, that greater economic integration would mean not just greater stability, but more or less inevitable move on the part of China into greater acceptance of democratic norms, market norms, and a rules-based international order. We've come to the point where we are super integrated, but that economic relationship with China has not yielded the kind of comfort that was promised. Aw, boo-hoo. Weren't they not willing to become a loyal client state of like the neoliberal tendencies that Buttigieg comes from and upholds? Did they not just like immediately, because they opened up their markets and integrated themselves in the global economy, they didn't immediately ditch socialism? They didn't ditch this idea and just become a compliant little liberal democracy? Capitalist country? Oh no. Another Harvard dumbass. You know what a lot of this is too? You just get the sense that like he has this pretentious way of speaking, this pretentious politician way of speaking, where he's really not saying all that much. He's just outlining the basic ruling class elite consensus, but he's doing it in this kind of like flowery academic way. And this person is just of such low intelligence, this interviewer, that they're just so, they can barely understand it. And they assume because they can't understand it that it must be because he's so brilliant. And that's why at the beginning they have to have that caveat. He was managed while simultaneously in his mind palace, rotating a cube in 3 dimensions and solving world hunger. He was managing to like describe these things to me. When it's like he's not saying anything all that interesting whatsoever. But this person is just like so blown over by this fucking flowery academic language that is just like, they're just completely stunned by it. What did this dipshit peek at poll-wise? 6 to 8%. Yeah, he stole 1 primary and was a solid 3rd or 4th place most of the rest of the time. What a fucking brilliant person. He shocked the nation. Jesus. Yeah, it's how pseudo-intelligence is worshipped. And again, he's not articulating anything other than like the basic consensus. Oh yeah, by the way, all these neoliberalism promises fucking decimated all these places economically that were where their lives were supposed to get better. Young people are dealing with climate change as a result of all these decisions. And yeah, and Russia bad and China bad, by the way, also. He lit up the crumbling gymnasium that is Iowa. That's right, yeah. What was that conversation yesterday about liberal institutions actively discouraging revolutionary political consciousness or even accurate perception? The richer the endowment, the greater the pressure. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. But also this idea, like, too, they thought that greater economic integration would be not just greater stability, but more or less an acceptable, more or less inevitable move on the part of China into greater acceptance of democratic norms. Like, what is unstable that's right? What is happening that's unstable about China right now? China's actually quite stable. It's quite politically stable. And it's invested in all these regions that has, like, lifted living standards for all these people. They're eliminating extreme poverty. And that's this whole idea about democratic norms, too. These precious democratic norms, which really just means, like, liberal democracy. That's a big part of neoliberalism, right? Markets, market fetishization, privatization, and this like obsession with liberal democracy. But, like, wait, again, we've asked this number of times, like, what is democracy really? Like, is it when in America, as we've talked about, you have the opportunity every couple of years to vote for one multimillionaire lawyer landlord or a more reactionary multimillionaire lawyer landlord, and that's your entire political system is made up of these multimillionaire lawyer landlords, and that's your precious democracy. And they're just aw-shucksing themselves now because China, just with all the economic integration that Dengism led to, didn't open up to in the same way. It didn't change. It didn't just give up on its political system in this way. You know, you look at the democracy in America and what people feel like. Let's look at Pete Buttigieg's poll numbers. You know, leading into the Democratic primary or currently right now. Do people think that he's doing a good job in this administration? No. What did he do? What did he accomplish really to be given given this big role in the administration? Not much. What experience does he have in, like, transport specifically to make him direct, like, the administration to the Department of Transport? He leading the Department of Transport. What has he done in his career? No, nothing really. But because he's this party insider that did a favor for the guy that won, and he's shown that he can be a good little boy that does what he's told, he gets a little prime spot in the administration, and he gets a chance to shine on cable news, and he gets all these opportunities to advance himself. Is that a democracy? That's the democracy we're talking about? You know, whereas a place like China, where you have people where there is accountability, when people are not popular, they get removed. When they're corrupt, they get removed. And where they're actually delivering huge gains for people. Like, let's look at transport specifically. Let's look at specifically transport, since that's the thing that Pete apparently is so fucking great at, that he gets given this opportunity. In China, the non-democratic China, where unfortunately they haven't lived up to these democratic norms, where the Communist Party, the Chinese Communist Party, sorry, I can't remember the fucking acronym. The Communist Party of China is delivering these huge, massive, world historic infrastructure projects, specifically when it comes to transport, when it comes to high-speed rail, building this massive, sprawling, beautiful public transit systems, especially in places like Urumqi in Xinjiang region. You know, they're actually doing things for people that help people. That's why the Communist Party of China is really popular. You know, it's not like people are brainwashed or they're fudging the numbers. Like, when American institutions do conduct these polls, they find they're immensely popular because the people's democratic representation, they are seeing it. They are feeling democratically represented. The government is actually delivering things for them. You know, their lives are getting better. Unlike what's happening in here, as Pete correctly points out, all of our lives are steadily getting worse. All our material means are still declining, right? The housing is more difficult to get. Housing is more expensive. It's basically impossible to find. There's fewer jobs. There's fewer benefits. There's fewer union jobs. People have less vacation time, less time to themselves. Healthcare is more expensive. Less people have insurance. Like, every factor that you can look at to see, like, whether people's lives are getting better is going in the wrong direction in our society. You know? And still we have Pete whining and crying in this like Pete, which is, we can talk about propaganda, which is this pure like puff piece describing him as being some fucking Doogie Howser genius. He's decrying the idea that they haven't accepted these democratic norms. Someone from the fucking United States government is criticizing the democratic norms of China. Again, specifically with transport, when they're delivering these huge gains to people, huge infrastructure projects, which America could never do in a fucking million years. Because if it's completely archaic, gridlocked, undemocratic, non-representative system of government. And he's sitting there complaining about their refusal to accept these democratic norms. Pete, come on. Give me a fucking break, Pete. Yeah, market norms is strike breaking and bailouts for derailments. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. As we careen towards the second quarter of the century, suddenly industrial policy sounds less retro and more like a response to the times. It says there are some new or at least renewed ways of thinking about transportation policy we work on at DOT.
You've just become an elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Ben, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Ben and PS. Thank you very, very much for that. Very kind of you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so thinking about, there are some new or at least renewed ways of thinking about transportation policy we work on at DOT that embrace the importance of public investment, which is a big part of the philosophy of the infrastructure bill. There are more than 32,000 new infrastructure projects now underway in every state and territory all across the country. We created an interactive map so people can see what's up in their communities. And we can take a look at this map too. It's just interesting that none of these big infrastructure projects include rail or transit. Which, when we're talking about climate policy, need to be a central part of any climate policy that makes sense. Massive investment in transit, public transit, and high-speed rail. Are we going to see that on the interactive map? I don't know. I don't think so. Like, what are these infrastructure projects? We saw Kamala Harris the other day, too. Being like, the 7 bridges. That was great, too. Let's just zoom in on something randomly here. Here's I can't, it's hard to zoom in here. Near Salt Lake City. The bipartisan infrastructure law provides $15 billion for airport-related projects as defined under the existing airport improvement grant and passenger facility charge criteria. The money can be invested in runways, taxiways, safety and sustainability projects, as well as terminal, airport transit connections, and roadway projects. Okay. In Ohio, we got a highway planning and construction. In Knox County, replacement of structure alongside Township Route 226. This is really riveting. This is riveting content here. Fantastic stuff. What do we got here? What's this? $800 million for more than 500 projects to improve roads at the local level and tackle national traffic fatalities. A historic $800 million in grant awards for 511 projects through the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant program. A record amount of funding to improve roads and address traffic fatalities. The competitive grant program established by President Biden. You know what cuts down on traffic fatalities as well? Getting people onto transit and into trains as well. Getting people out of cars in the first place. That's one thing that actually limits traffic fatalities also. From redesigned roads to better sidewalks and crosswalks to prevent deaths and serious injuries on the nation's roadways. I don't know. This is not very exciting content. I just had a whole meeting and we're still doing this. Well, you started this, G Cluppy, so why don't you own it, okay? Own it. This is on you. Was there maybe a comeback of a pared-down version of neoliberalism, or at least the hope that markets and democracy might work in sync when Ted Cruz coined woke Coke to show contempt for Coca-Cola's protest to voter suppression in Georgia? So, well, yes, there's something delicious. Not only what else is delicious, is delicious Diet Coke. One of my favorite products, a nice ice-cold Diet Coke. Nothing beats it. I started and then dipped. Very nice. That's super badass. How many actually take into account climate change? None, I'm betting none. Well, that's, I mean, they're trying to like make that case that it does. But again, you can't have a serious climate policy that doesn't include massive amounts of funding to transit and rail. You just can't. You just can't do it. There's something delicious about the way that Cruz and the rest of them have positioned themselves on one side of the fence, and Netflix, Coca-Cola, Disney, and Bud Light are on the other side, along with most of America. There may in fact be a center of gravity in this country that includes both a democratic majority of the American people and even something of a consensus, at least among mainstream business leaders. We have certain commitments around democracy and inclusion that are really elemental to the whole system. The mainstream right's political project was twofold. It was to prevent legal access to abortion and to sustain lower taxes for the wealthy. So you've said the mainstream right's political project has been a huge success. This is what he's admitting. And we completely let them completely destroy us on both of these things. Those are kind of the two greatest pillars of the mainstream right now. They're the dog that caught the car. I mean, that's not really true because they're the dog that caught the car. Like, the idea is that the dog doesn't know what to do, but it's not like the dog catches the car and chews it up and spits it out and the car is destroyed. Right? Like, they accomplish those things. They're now the dog that caught the car. And to switch metaphors, they rode a tiger to get there. So they're the dog that caught the car and they rode a tiger to get there. They made a lot of distasteful bargains in order to get there. Sometimes the military of all institutions comes under attack from the far right on ideological grounds, yet another front in the culture war. So he's accepting this kind of like democratic consensus that includes like woke brands and kind of like trying to pull the military into that liberal democratic consensus. He's just imagining dogs right now as he's talking to this interviewer that he doesn't like, for sure. The woke Pentagon. So he's thinking like that now that they're transitioning to this nonstop culture war stuff, that does turn people off, which is something that I don't think is like that controversial. I think there are a lot of people that probably find that pretty stupid. It won't stop them from. The difference is though, even if like mainstream conservatives look at like the dumb shit that like the real reactionaries in their movement are doing, this culture war stuff, they're not going to go vote for Democrat. They're not going to go vote for Democrats, just like they didn't under Trump. There was a few holdovers, a few of these like anti-Trump right-wing people that got non-stop airplay in the media, but ultimately all the wealthy people and all the conservatives just fell in line behind Trump, because he knew that they were going to keep those taxes low and be good for business. They don't really care about this stuff. So yeah, you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of mainstream conservatives that find all the shit about woke Disney and Coke and Bud Light and all this nonstop obsession with culture wars stupid and distasteful. And you know what they're going to do in the next election? When they have one Republican guy being like, no more taxes, and the Democrat who's going to say, maybe just a few taxes, Jack, and they're going to go with the one guy. They're going to go with the conservative guy. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. You know? This is what these people fail to understand. I genuinely do understand this idea that, like, there's people, voters, and people around the country that are probably, like, turned off by all this culture war obsession, but, like, they're not turned off to the point where they're going to vote for the Democratic Party, number one. And if they did, all that's happened is the Democratic Party is going to become more conservative. Now we're the party of the military. We're the party of the FBI. We're the party on, like, reasonable limits on taxation and these things. Like, that's all that's happened in that situation. If you do bring these people into your coalition, that's all that's really happened, is the Democratic Party has become even more conservative than it already is. Then we get into this big conversation about masculinity. Like, I just can't read all this. I can't. I can't read all this, folks. I don't know. It could literally take 5 hours to read every single question and response and analyze all the responses. I just don't think I can do it right now. I'll see if there's some highlights on Twitter, okay? How about that? Really said not a lot about transport. That's one main thing. Didn't really mention all that much about actual transport. You'd think would be important. Just seeing if there's like,
You can count on me. You're going to have a good old
Anything
Rob
here,
to
yeah.
talk you through all this.
Tell Rob it was me. That only has nice things to say about him.
10,000 sandwiches. Thank you so much. 30 entire months. Resub at tier 2 from our friend 10,000 sandwiches. That's so many months. 30 months. The big 3-0. I gotta keep manually updating the subs now. That's huge. Thank you, 10,000 sandwiches. That's so many sandwiches. I'm going to have to eventually... Maybe I should make an even more exclusive 30-month badge. What about that? Would that tear apart the whole community? Would that tear apart the whole community if I made an even more highly exclusive elite 30-month badge? Oh my goodness. Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine? What? Okay, Jesus Christ, folks. I wasn't even, like, paying attention to where I was scrolling to. Because they're talking about his faith here. They're going into the whole, like, God thing. Talking about his Christianity. I wasn't even paying attention to like where I scrolled to. And then look at this question. Running DOT seems to suit you. Are there more ways the challenges of transportation speak to your spiritual side? What the hell? What the hell kind of a question is this? There's just a lot in the scriptural tradition around journeys, around roads, right? You're really qualified from this. You read the fucking Bible. Yeah, they put him in charge of the Department of Transportation. I thought, to my understanding, there was supposed to be some kind of a separation between church and state. They mention roads like a bunch of times in the Bible, so put me in charge of this shit. All aboard the Christ train. Yeah, it is dork-ass shit. Conversion of St. Paul happens on the road. There's also the Good Samaritan. He was lying by a road as well. Or no, sorry, the Good Samaritan is the guy that helps the... who's the guy in that story? He's the beaten, robbed, desperate man. He's on a road, and then the Good Samaritan's walking down the road and helps him. That's in the Bible. I learned that in Sunday school. Put me in charge of the Department of Transportation. I know all about roads. I know all about roads. Put me in, coach. I've lived near roads my whole life. Of course, the sprawling transit network in South Bend, Indiana, that Pete personally oversaw. This is the writer's pin story, a piece about microchips, democracy, and the face of God. But this person is just really something else, honestly. Jesus. The conversion of St. Paul happens on the road. I think we're all nearer to our spiritual potential when we're on the move. Something about movement, something about travel, pulls us out of the routines that numb us to who we are, to what we're doing, to everything from our relationships with each other to our relationships with God. That's part of the reason why so many important things in the Bible happen on highways. And then journeys. They're also just marvels. Every flight is a marvel. That pulls us out of that in the same way that religious rituals, holidays, liturgies are one kind of routine that pulls us out of another kind of routine. For sure, man. Yeah. When you get on a plane, people buckle their seatbelts and listen to the flight attendant's very predictable pronouncements. It's routine. It's almost a ritual, right? Yet you're preparing to fly through the heavens. Life is a combination of drudgery and miracles. Part of what keeps me at home in the Episcopal faith is that it is liturgically rather than conservative. I like that routine.
Based in Canada. I was turned on to this sick individual, and I found this.
What is this? Majority Report, thank you for the raid. Hello, Majority Report friends. Sam Sater, what a fucking nightmare. I really appreciate the raid from our friends at the Majority Report. I believe it's Matt Leck. Matt, I love you, buddy. Thank you for the raid. Very much appreciated. I am Rob. Nice to meet you. Hello. We're just reading this Mayor Pete article, and as you know, as everyone knows about me, I'm a big neoliberal supporter. In the Democratic primary, I was previously in the tank for Mayor Pete, obviously, as were many of you as well. I know we all remember doing the dance and everything. We all remember the dance that we were all doing. So please smash the follow button if you want to be part of the community, if you want to join the chat, if you want to hang out on the channel. Please smash the follow button. I appreciate it a lot. And hello. We're still reading this. I have high hopes he'll run again. That's right. They thought he was going to be able to run in 2024, but still he's vastly unpopular despite being put in that prime position to shine. He's still, no one likes the guy, so we have to wait another 4 years for that. I got bullied on Twitter for putting the Pete dance videos to the White People song from Wonder Shows It. This is really bad, but we're just looking at. So he's making some. First of all, we were talking about, and yeah, like someone said, when China talks about road, that's really bad. They're not embracing those democratic norms. So there's this absurd question in this article. I've been trying to make my way through this article. It's just it's so mind-numbing to read. His cathedral mind, that's right. This whole question about are there more ways that challenges of transportation speak to your spiritual side? Making this connection, this weird, bizarre, like stoned dorm room philosophy, religion 101 ass kind of analogy about transport and sacred and the mundane and the Bible and roads and journeys. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? God, and then the interviewer is just like, this man is so intelligent, I want to kill myself. That's what the interview is doing. That's what the interviewer is doing as he gives this rambling, sprawling non-answer about representation of roads and journeys in the Bible. And the interviewer is just like, this is the smartest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Hold on, I just want to do this one more. I'm going to see if I can do a little bit there. And then journeys. They're also just marvels. Every flight is a marvel. It pulls us out of that in the same way that religious rituals, holidays, liturgies are one kind of routine. It pulls us out of another kind of routine. When you get on a plane, people buckle their seatbelts and listen to the flight attendant's very predictable pronouncements. It's routine. It's almost a ritual, right? And yet you're preparing to fly through the heavens. Can we watch the Light Up a Gym segment again? I guess we have to. By the way, I don't know, like, I don't totally know why I have this, like, dinner party vibe. It's just something we started doing lately. The dinner party jazz and the conversation in the background. It just, I don't know, it just lifts the whole, it elevates the vibe into kind of something else, right? This isn't your grandpa's political commentary, right? We do have to look at this, though, I think. This is still just so fucking great. This pops me every
Justices
time.
ought to be able to...
This purely, and again, I've talked about it before, but for the people that just joined, like, when you watch this ad, you have to think about the, like, McKinsey presentation, that the deck where they presented this deck, that they had this idea for this viral moment that they could do. They probably had a slide of, like, the Bernie, like, bird moment and showing all how viral it was and all the statistics. And planning out this little viral stunt in the gym. We're going to shut off the lights and we're going to script this soaring rhetoric and showing all this was totally 100% scripted and it's going to go viral on this network and this network and it's going to give us this earned media. We're anticipating this much earned media from the virality of this, like, this moment that we're going to capture here. For for sure this was, like, pitched to someone in the Democratic Party. And there was a bunch of conference calls figuring it out before they got to it. You fucking know they do. And just, it's just so funny understanding it in that context, seeing his reaction here. It just pops me every time. I love it. I unironically love it.
Justices ought to be able to retire like they used to.
What? What's this? Oh, man. I love it. I genuinely do love it. His little face that he does. Every time, I love it.
They used to,
It glitched.
Hire like they used to,
Whoa. What's this totally organic event? Exactly. Yes. This totally organic accident. And then he had the whole thread on Twitter. You know, that was part of the presentation as well. We can light up a gymnasium. We can light up a town. We can light up a nation. What? God, that's great. It's real because the lights go on and go out at separate times, like someone's throwing switches as opposed to the power actually going out. Every time. It never does not make me laugh. We can light up a train on fire. That's right. That was great, actually, when all the conversation about East Palestine was going on as well. And people were like, Pete, what's going on with this? And he's like, do you know how many derailments there are every year? It's like, that's your answer? Really? That doesn't seem good. We spill toxic chemicals all over this country every single day. Okay, but that's not good though, right? Like, what are you doing to fix that? And he's like, absolutely nothing. We have more cars. We're doing more. We're fixing the sidewalks. We're fixing like 7 sidewalks. You do see how that's worse. Exactly. Exactly. Anyway, folks, I just want to briefly remind you while I got some viewers here that, like, if you enjoy this show, you know, you can also keep my lights on where I am right now. And if we could light up this Twitch channel, we can light up a social network, and we can light up a message board, and we can light up a Discord server. And I can do that with your help, folks. And if you enjoy following this program, or you enjoy the kind of commentary that I do here on twitch.tv, please subscribe to TRRS. Again, I have no grants. I got no state funding. I don't have not from, you know, the
You've
arms
just become
manufacturers.
An elite member of the Friendship Triangle.
Oh, goodness. As you can see, I'm not funded by the arms manufacturers. I got no NGOs or think tanks, any foreign states, any big corporations, anything like that. Everything that I do in this program is 100% funded by the wonderful and very generous community members like Gen X Bushy, who just very extremely generously just now gifted 5 subs. Gen X Bushy, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate it. You can count on me.
You're going to have good old Rob.
It's the only way I'm able to do this show, folks. It's the only way I am able to do this show each and every day is through the wonderful,
you can count on
amazing,
me. You're going to have good old
generous
Rob
community
to talk you
members.
through all this.
Alana, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Alana, thank you. Thank you for those. I very much appreciate that. And thank you, Diego, for the 2 gifted subs as well. Thank you.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this. And we got
anonymous gifter as well. To talk about Christ-like, the most Christ-like of all sub gifters. This is my face when an anonymous gift sub comes in. What?
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
Thank you, Brian, as well. Thank you, Brian, for the 200 friend coin. I really appreciate it. Very much appreciated. Let me just update the goal, which is now just not working for whatever reason. Update that bad boy. We do have a little hype train going on here, and I will get back to this commentary very soon. Liz Smith turned off the sub counter. You know, she was probably the one that was pitching this whole thing. It's just so funny. It's so shameless. It's just fantastic. I just don't get tired of it. I really don't. Ooh. Let's see it again. Come on. I got to see it again. This is when someone...
You've just become an elite
retire
member
like they
of the
used
Friendship
to.
Triangle.
Well,
it's not working. Give me what I want. Holy shit. Look at that. Trev Boyardee. The first 5 gifted subs in the channel for Trev rockets right up to the elite tier of that Friendship Triangle system. And that makes me do this.
they used to.
It's like glitching. It's too good. It's glitching. Look at this face too. You know, he's just looking around like he's looking at the guy in the back. Like, we have the timing on this. Trev Boyardis, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Very kind of you. God is trying to prevent us from funning on this boy Pete. Absolutely. God. This will just always make me laugh. Did we already discuss Petey's weird ass Amazon documentary? No. We haven't. We should watch the whole thing.
Good old Rob to talk you through all
this.
this.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Anonymous gifter gifting a sub to Pete Buttigieg himself. Wonderful. The man himself. Mayor Pete himself. Fantastic. Happy to have in the community. Maybe he'll get back to his Marxist roots. Maybe he can, like Pete's still fairly young. He's an old millennial, just like me. He's like a year or two older than me. There's still time. You can re-embrace the principles of Marxism, Pete. I know you've read this shit. There's still time to do the right thing, sir. You don't have to continue doing this to yourself. You're disappointing your father. You're killing your father, Pete. You're killing your father. You're disrespecting your father's legacy. You know, you're getting paid by McKinsey to uphold neoliberalism or being part of the Biden administration. I'm getting paid by Trev Boyardis to stay true to my Marxist principles. And you know what? I like it that way. I would love to do that as well, ML Thought is, and we'll do a proper community meetup one of these days. Betty refers to his son as his liberal do-nothing son. Is he still alive? I wonder. I wonder what kind of relationship they have.
We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
You think Rob wants to eat noodles every day? Well, yes, but that's not the point.
That's true. I do want to do that. Yeah, that's true. I enjoy that part of it. Thank you, Brian, for the 200 friend coin. We wouldn't have to eat Kraft dinner, but we would eat Kraft dinner. Of course we would. We'd just eat more. We get those fancy ketchups. Dijon ketchup. Pete, I'm actually an Elon plant, so y'all are toast. Well, if Elon wants to own me by gifting subs in my community, well, I guess I'll just have to take my lumps. What's everyone's noodle loadout for today? I'm going rigatoni for lunch. I'm still like recovering from the cheesy bulldog noodles that I had yesterday. Like those were mind-numbingly good. I don't even know if I can eat Kraft dinner ever again. And I love Kraft dinner. I genuinely do. I love Kraft dinner. But I don't think I can eat it anymore. Like, why would I eat that when I can eat a cheesy bulldog noodle with like chili crisp in it? It was so fucking good. What is this? It's amazing that after all that Democratic primary drama that happened, that this is what America ended up with.
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you got the vaccination?
This is a town hall question. How do you change the mistrust in the system among some members of the black community.
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem, no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're, no, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people, if your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon, or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it? You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? When was that from? Is that from this tweet was from yesterday. Did this happen yesterday? No, not because it's Don Lemon. It's Don Lemon. The fuck is that? I've got to see. I haven't even looked at. I saved Kamala's, went on like a rambling thing the other day, and I never even looked at it because I was like, oh, I'm going to watch it on the stream. This is from like last week. Who are these people? What are they talking about? It's a good pause face.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
For sure, man. This is Pete and Kamala were the two like brilliant minds that the Democratic Party really were like, these are the successors. It is hard to argue with. It's very hard to argue with. I agree. These are the successors. They're going to steer the party into the next generation, Pete and Kamala. And they're still trying to make it happen, and just no one's buying it. They didn't buy it in 2020. Despite all the advantages that they had, the massive media campaign that was if people had stuck with Kamala, like she was the original like front runner. She was the one that was like they were trying to anoint in 2020. And she didn't even make it to the primary. This is who the elites in the Democratic Party were like, these are the ones. These are the brilliant minds that are going to lead this party into the next generation. It's really amazing. And just the idea that there was this old Jewish guy that like young kids liked, there was like, I think people should have more healthcare. They were like, get this man out of here. This is so dangerous. He's basically a Nazi. He's going to round up people in Central Park. I think more young people should be able to have jobs. No, stop this man. Stop him. It's like, we got to put Kamala in there. That's what the people want. You see, she wears Chucks. She wears Chucks. None of this dangerous radicalism. Well, does it mean like her father's a Marxist too? Like they're two failed children of Marxist academics who have just completely sold out everything that they were maybe once had the potential to do, to be these fucking like boring neoliberal empty suits. You can't say that. I think people should be able to go to the dentist. Ah! Yeah, I guess it shows how like academia, I don't know, how much of a dead end it is. Is there still a K-Hive? I don't know. There must be. There's people that just formed entire personalities, but like I don't believe any. Like maybe some of those K-Hive people were real people. I think most of them were like sitting in like a basement, like just clocking in. They clock in. They get paid by like David Brock or whoever it is to some basement in some like random building in Washington, and they clock in, they have a little cubicle, and they go on and just post like memes of black women from TV shows all day to the white bros. I'm sure it's like that's what it was. Maybe there were some people organically that caught on, but certainly not a majority. Pardon me, sir, I'm finishing my PhD this year. Well, Frank, you're one of the good ones, though. You're one of the good ones. Because you're here. Okay, that's the difference. But you know what I mean? Those K-Hive people, they're for sure getting paid. They have to be getting paid to do that. Same with probably most of the the people, whatever online fandoms that there were for Kamala or Pete. They tried that with Pete as well. And for sure, it was like not even the Democratic Party, but it was like McKinsey or like David Brock or one of these like consultancy groups. The same people that planned the Pete light go out stunt. The same people. My mom was really into Pete. I think there was that demo for sure, but your mom also wasn't like a Pete meme warrior though. Like I don't doubt that does appeal to some people, but your mom's not blasting the pro Pete memes online and stuff, you know? Maybe she was. I don't know, Sean. Maybe she was. Sean's mom was one of the ringleaders. The ringleaders of this like astroturfed neoliberal Democrat fandom. I haven't seen Severance. I guess I should probably watch that, right, Old Dutch? Gonna have high hopes for a minute. Is there anything else in this article that we want to look at? I don't know. It's like this article is just really something else. Goes on stuff about January 6th. Making some point about his son that was sick in the Republic. And then once they hit the lowest point, it starts to get better and better. I'm not so sure I believe that, sir. And this is just sad, right? Saying, does the administration's work on the basics is getting through? Every time I go to celebrate a new bridge, we have a great time with local leaders who fought so hard to get it done, but it bears little chance of penetrating the national news of the day. Our task here is to deliver so much good news that the volume of it outweighs the tendency to focus on what went wrong. You know, that's something that I think we should unpack as well, because I've been noticing a lot of that lately, where it's just like things are going so great. There's a lot of that kind of messaging coming from it. All the stuff about the economy too. The economy and unemployment. All the shit. The economy has never been better. Unemployment's never been lower. And then you just look at use your two eyes if you live in a major urban center and just go wander around and look around at what's going on. And see the tent encampments and see the homeless, see the unhoused populations growing. Seeing the decay of infrastructure in so many of these places. Go into the fucking subway and see what's going on in there. But then these people are just saying everything's just so great. Unemployment has never been lower. It's never been lower. The economy's never been better. And it's just really clashing. This kind of a messaging is clashing with people's actual lived experiences and their perception. People, it's not better for a lot of people. It's not. And if you were someone who during the pandemic was having access to expanded unemployment benefits and the child tax credit that actually did help you for once, and then that got rolled back under the Biden administration, so you're forced to take on 2 fucking gig economy jobs, driving an Uber or a Lyft and doing DoorDash. Yeah, you have a job. Congratulations, but how is that actually affecting you as a person? Is that better? Is that a better situation or worse? For some people, the first time in their lives, they got to just like spend some time with their kids and spend some time at home and pay off some of their debts and things like that. They get kicked out of this like new kind of social safety net that's been created. They get forced to get some shitty job for some shitty tech gig economy company. And it's like, look how great the economy is doing. Look how low unemployment is. Meanwhile, people's lives are people are just getting ground into the dirt. You know? And he's talking about all these big infrastructure things, all these, we're going all these new bridges and all these great things that we're doing. It's like, and at the same time saying like, do you know how many train derailments there are every year? No, we're not going to fix those. Like, I don't know if it's gaslighting, but it is really kind of weird. Like, it almost seems like they're, this constant barrage of talking about how fucking great they're doing and how great everything is while people's lives are just being fucking, people are just miserable. And again, people know what their own experiences are. And they have two eyes, they can wander around and look around outside and see what's going on in their community or with their family members. He says, I think we might do this. One formulation is that we've delivered the most significant economic legislation since FDR, the most important infrastructure initiative since Eisenhower, and the second most important healthcare work since LBJ. But like, if any of that is true, and frankly, like if Biden had passed that Build Back Better agenda that they campaigned on, which Bernie's influence like led them to like embrace that kind of level of like FDR style New Deal spending, but they didn't do it though. They didn't pass it. Joe Manchin said no. So they didn't do it, but they're still kind of acting as if they did pass it. Like I said, they rolled back the social safety net that had been created. They rolled all that shit back. They didn't pass this big legislative agenda. They passed this infrastructure bill because conservatives allowed them to pass it, which should indicate that it's not something that's going to really help average people. Hello, Illuminati Film School. What's up? Yeah, I think the bridges funding is roughly equivalent to 4 to 5 days of military funding. Big win. Yeah, and the bridge funding is probably over 10 years, while military funding is each and every year. Did we lose the vibe? Oh yeah, I guess so. Should we bring that back? Hey. Hey folks, we're back. We're not going to let anyone have their bad vibes mess with our day. We're here to hang out. We're here to learn together and grow together and spend time with one another. Because this is a community, and I care about this community. I care about your well-being. I want you to have a good time. I want you to have a relaxing time. Got our groovy cat Rob here to lay it all down for all you cool cats. Gibberish talking sounds. very silly. I'm gonna be offered a late night show if I keep this up. I should be offered a late night show. I would be a great late night show host. Now, is there anything else in this we want to look at? I don't know. I think I'm good. Are you good, Chad? Are you good with the Mayor Pete stuff? I feel all right. I think we've learned enough about this. Analysis of the photos. Ugh. All right, Pete, act natural. Act natural. You're cool, calm, sexy. You can do this. Just a normal face. Just make a normal face. Normal dude here. He loves God and guns and his electric truck. The new masculinity. The new man. The new liberal consensus. No, don't try to look like Howdy Doody. What are these pictures? Can you find the wolves in this picture? Can you find the wolves in this picture? He's vaping. Yeah, that's how he's trying to appeal to the kids. He's filled up this little booth with vape cloud. Can you find the wolves? That's really stuck in my head, that phrase. This man's thinking about harming an animal at this moment. He's tired, he's cranky, he's finished dealing with this interviewer. He's like, can't wait till I go to the dog shelter later. You see the side of his face too, illustrating the dark passenger. His little hand is balled up into a little fist. His little nail is starting to cut into the palm. A little scratching at it. I believe in Harvey Dent. I believe in Pete Buttigieg. He looks like he would order a drone strike. Wishes he could order a drone strike. I wish they were doing Dark Brandon style memes about me. Where are the Dark Pete memes? Where are the Dark Pete memes? That's where I'm wondering. The Dark Peter. You know, there's some demonic McKinsey presentation as well, in the same way that they tried to do the gym thing. Allow us to introduce to you to a new meme character, Dark Peter. They're photoshopping the laser eyes onto him and stuff. They're banking so hard on this fuck to be the future of the party, it'll just be a massive failure. Well, that's what I mean. It's like they tried in the primary with Kamala and Pete. They tried to anoint others, but it was really all about the two of them. Anointing them to lead the next generation. It just has not caught on. No one's buying it. No one is buying it. Even Beto's less of an empty suit. For sure, he seems like a human being, at least. He seems like a real, genuine human being. He's kind of a dork. And a lot of his whole, like, table jumping thing, that also screamed to be, like, Democrat consultant pitch as well. He's going to be going in the restaurants and diners and standing on tables. Remember all those pieces? This is why this Democratic upstart can't stop jumping on tables. Remember that? That was a whole narrative as well. I'm sure that was planned also. That was divorced dad energy, but at least it's something. I'll take a table stander over a spaniel strangler. Oh my goodness. Oh my. It's actually amazing how they managed to settle on the two people with the least relatable character. Absolutely. It has just never taken off. It's never taken off. No one's buying it. They thought Pete was great because he's like young. You know, he's young, he's handsome, gay. This whole thing that they're trying to do with this piece, this new liberal consensus, this new kind of masculinity. And just no one, like, that's what people, that's kind of what I mean. It's like, when you're not speaking to people's material needs, as Bernie was doing, and as Kamala and Pete were just, like, refusing to do, then that's why people gravitated to Bernie, because we were like, my life sucks, my life is getting worse, I can't own a home, I'm going to go with the guy that's like, hey, you know all these problems that you have? You're right to feel angry for these problems. We can name who's causing the problems, and if you support me, I'm going to go after them. Lo and behold, people respond to that message. We're like, what about this, like, small town mayor, gay troop? What about that? He's hitting all these identity boxes and all these demographics, but it's like, that doesn't fucking matter. No one cares about that, actually. No one cares about this kind of representation. It's not actually, if they're not promising to, like, make people's lives substantially better and meaningfully fight back against the very powerful interests that have this stranglehold on the political system and the economic system, then they don't fucking care. They're going to go after people they're going to respond to people that speak to these needs. And if no one in the Democratic Party is going to do it, they're going to go to Trump, or they're going to go to whoever the next blood-drinking conservative psychopath comes along. You know, people act like this is this big confusing thing. Why are young people, they're just so confused. Why are they going to Bernie and not to, like, Beto or Mayor Pete? It's just a mystery. It's just a total mystery. And it's like they just don't get it. They're amazing people, really. Their inability to grasp these basic concepts. It must be because they hate women. That must be why. In my case, that was true, but I don't think I think that was the minority. Just hope there's another Klobuchar to bully Pete when the time comes. I have a grudging respect for Klobuchar because she doesn't, as I've talked about before, she doesn't have the bullshit rhetoric, progressive rhetoric. She doesn't bother with any of that, which I at least respect, because you're not, like, couching your neoliberalism in this, like, again, this, like, web of, like, kind of progressive sounding academic language that blows the minds of these fucking, like, dimwit reporters. You know, she doesn't bother with any of that. She's like, you don't deserve to have good things, and it's not going to happen. And I respect that. I admire that. Never thought it would come to me voting against the gay guy, but he made it real easy. Well, that's what I mean. It's like when that's all you have going for you is like you're checking some kind of, like, demographic box for people. It's like, that's just not inspiring. Especially it's about politics. It's about achieving this kind of, like, personal catharsis. And not only wanting to support someone, but wanting to take your time to, like, help them. Yeah, we were just talking about that clavecinist. They're both Marxist fail children. Talk about another neoliberal fail child of a famous Marxist. We got Justin Trudeau as well. Well, I never really got to talking about this Elon interview. We did talk about it a little bit in the Insurgents podcast, which did just come out, by the way. Which did just come out. This is good. I didn't realize my podcast partner, Jordan Ewell, actually also got a Wired feature. That's huge for him. As Ewell and I talked in his Gamer Zone apartment one afternoon in early spring, I slowly became aware that his daily routine of coming up with the best takes requires only a modest portion of his cognitive powers. Other mental facilities, no kidding, are apportioned to cranking 90s in Fortnite, brewing new meta decks in Magic the Gathering, solving all the world's problems, and crafting winning parlays on DraftKings. Fortunately, he was able to devote yet another apse in his cathedral mind to making his ideas about three mighty themes, neoliberalism, masculinity, and Christianity, intelligible to me. Well, congratulations to Jordan for that. That's huge. That's huge. So, I never talked about the Elon interview thing, but I did talk about it with Jordan in this podcast episode for the Insurgents podcast. So I would encourage people to, please, if you can, check that out. There's the podcast, and there's this specific episode. I encourage people to listen to this one. It's very good. And you know what? I think I'm going to go soon, folks. I told you this was going to be a little bit of a shorter one today. Late getting started. I was editing this pod. So a little late getting started. I think I'm going to go soon, though. You do have a few more minutes. We are fairly close to the sub goal. A few generous, like 1 or 2 generous chatters could get to the show, to the sub goal, which is not something that I've accomplished this week. Hint, hint. Hint, hint. It's okay. I was hoping to get there yesterday, but then the stream glitched out at the end of the day. I wasn't able to do it. But if anyone else does want to support the content that I create here on twitch.tv/RobberSo, please, you can still have a few more moments to subscribe and help support this commentary. If you enjoy the work that I do here and you get a kick out of it and you like being part of the community, please subscribe for $5 a month. They're totally free of charge with an Amazon Prime account, or gift subs to immediately rocket right up to Twitch's only two-dimensional friendship. Two-dimensional, or you can give subs to rocket right up to the very top of Twitch's only two-dimensional triangle-shaped friendship access and trickle-down cloud tiered reward system. Whew. I had to back up there. That was a good one, though. That's a mouthful. That's a mouthful. The only way to stick it to the man, that's right. Careful there, getting a bit Shapiro-esque just now with the cadence. That was, yeah. We do want to be careful with that. That's true.
You can count on me.
Oh my goodness.
And good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh my goodness, anonymous gifter.
You can count on me.
Subs. Thank you so much
to talk you through all this.
To our beautiful anonymous sub gifter. We love the anonymous sub gifters, folks.
Have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Another saintly anonymous gifter, Christ-like, absolutely. Absolutely.
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all
Good
this.
shit. So that's 4. Oh my goodness, folks. All right, let me just update this here. It's just tantalizingly close now. Just tantalizingly close. Oh look, we've got Abelina Sabrina streaming. I don't get to raid her very often. She's wonderful.
No. Wait. Oh. I'm just subscribed. I'm on the Deranged Games account, so it's Hannah.
Thank you,
wait,
folks.
I can't pause it on that screen for a while. Okay, that's better. I'm not gonna play it again, but
Thank you, folks. We'll be back tomorrow to finish out the week. Finish out the week strong.
Count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh my gosh, anonymous gifter. Thank you for the gifted
what did
sub.
they say?
GMO Radio, thank you for
Count
the
on
gifted
me.
sub.
You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh my goodness.
I was
We got another like 45
no,
seconds.
It was something after that.
Who's gonna be the beautiful, generous chatter?
Upside, one of us, one of us. We were talking about what a cool viewer spaceman's fit.
That makes this broken man's day.
Oh my
This
god.
broken man.
Fuck. I also.
You
I
can
don't
count
know
on
how many
me.
of you guys
You're gonna have
follow
good
me on
old
social
Rob
media,
to
but
talk you
my
through all
Instagram
this.
Iron, thank you for the Iron, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. Jesus Christ.
We simply
Iron, thank
use
you
the
very
computer
much.
to mark
I
up
really
the
appreciate
size
that.
of the account.
I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you also to
You can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through
Jet.
all this.
Thank you, Iron, for the 2 gifted subs again. I really appreciate it. And thank you to Gen X Bushy as well for the gifted sub. Thank you. I really appreciate the support, friends. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.